Okay, everybody, good morning to our Wednesday morning Tanakh Shir on Sefer Shmuel Bet, chapter 3. Today is sponsored by Lavona chapter in Modi'in of Hadassah Israel Women, and our sponsor for the class today is Rita Katz, and she is sponsoring class for the yurts in memory of her beloved husband Louis, whose name is Yitzhak Yaakov ben Avraham Abba, and we thank you very much for sponsoring class. We spoke about Louis Katz before we started recording. And for all of us who knew him, he was a wonderful, wonderful man. And we hope that his neshama has an aliyah l'kisei hakavod, and that he is smiling down on all the good things that his family is doing here in Eretz Yisrael. Thank you, Rita.
Rhonda, he's very much missed.
Yes, yes. So today, before we start class, I would just, since we are a project of Hadassah, and the Lavona chapter has distributed tzedakah boxes. So all of you out in TV land, if you have a tzedakah box, please fill it up as quickly as possible and then call me, and we will get your tzedakah box, and the money will go to good use here for Hadassah. So those of you who don't have a tzedakah box, please call me. I'm happy to get one to you. Also, we have upcoming programs and projects, so keep your emails closely watched so you can join in on all our programs. And in the month of Elul and the days leading up to the high holidays, we hope that you will make your donations for loved ones in memory of and honor of. I hope you have smachot that you can make donations to Hadassah, and that would be wonderful. Okay, so that was my unpaid political announcement. So now we're going to start our lesson. Last week, does anybody remember what we discussed? Yeah, anybody? Anybody?
The eulogy, we discussed the eulogy.
That was a couple weeks ago. Okay.
Oh, I don't know.
Did David HaMelech ask Hashem where to go, and Hashem said to Hebron?
Yes. Yes, indeed. That's right. And we said that the reason that Hashem sends him to Hebron, ultimately, because now that King Shaul has died and all but one son has perished in the war with the Philistines, we know that he will probably now go to Hebron, where his the Avot and Imahot are buried, and he will be finally recognized by the people of, well, at first, Yehuda, as the rightful king. So he's going home, and he is going to start the process of the Davidic line of kingship, but nothing comes easy for David. This chapter that we are learning today, chapter 3, is very problematic for David in many ways, and he has to really work hard to become the king. So in this chapter, we're going to see basically the good, the bad, and the ugly. We know that from last chapter that Avner, who was the general for Shaul, puts in the kingship of Israel the last child, the last son, not the last child, the last son of Shaul, whose name was Ishbosheth. Now, why we didn't hear about Ishbosheth was because he was a very weak child, not a strong or very intelligent son, and Shaul did not put him on the battlefield. He did not participate in any of the line of Shaul in the kingship. He was, as I said, he was really a puppet that Avner, the general of Shaul, puts on the throne. And I said last week that I think that the aspirations that Avner had as general were to put this Ishbosheth on the throne, and Avner, who was a very strong personality, would continue suggesting to the new king how to run the country on behalf of the tribe of Benjamin. So we find now that in chapter 3 that Ishbosheth is on the throne. However, and remember last time in the last chapter we found that Avner wanted to fight against the house of David, and he says instead of making it a terrible bloody war, we will pick 12 men from the house of David and the tribe of Judah, and we will pick 12 men from the house of Benjamin, the tribe of Benjamin, the house of Shaul, and they will fight at the pool, and the winner will win the prize of the throne. Well, it didn't go well for Avner. The suggestion was taken, and Avner's, in the end, all 24 were killed. However, the war continued after that, and the house of Judah, the Davidic line, won in this unnecessary, unbecoming, almost evil kind of bloodshed. So we find now that the war is over between the house of Shaul and the house of David, and Avner in chapter 3 realizes that he's made a very bad mistake. The mistake was that he did not understand the power that the anointed King David had, because David was chosen by God and anointed by Shmuel, and there was no one that Avner could put on the throne that could challenge the rightful kingship of David at this point. So Avner finally in this chapter realizes the mistake he made, and he's going to basically ask David for forgiveness and to try and help David unite the two tribes and the country, because all the tribes actually went with Avner as as the tribes of Israel, and the tribe of Judah, the Davidic tribe, remained alone. So under David, we're going to see how he's going to unite the whole country, all the tribes, in a peaceful fashion, not in a war, and not in civil war, and not in anger and not as a power play. So let's go to the text and we'll read the text, and there's a lot of stuff to go through in this text. So we hope that we can get through it all. Okay. So, okay, just give me a moment and I will get the text for you. Okay, can everybody see this? Chapter 3, Sefer Shmuel Bet. And let's get started here. Okay. Lori, would you like to start reading for us? Are you
Yes.
okay
Yes, thank
with
you.
that? All right.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
let me just tell you that I will interrupt you to explain some of the chapter. Can everyone see the English text?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's begin.
Okay. And the war between the house of Saul and the house of David was long, and David kept growing stronger while the house of Saul were continuously growing weaker. And the sons were born to David in Hebron, and his firstborn was Amnon of Ahinoam the
Okay.
Jerizelite.
Now, I want to preface this by saying that the author tells us that the house of David, the Davidic line, is on the rise to get stronger. The house of Shaul is, in this chapter, really comes to an end, almost to an end, and we'll see what happens with that. But the author really pauses to, after telling us about the rise of the Davidic line, and he tells us who exactly is the Davidic line. And he's telling us this for a purpose, because just like we know every word in the Torah, every word in Tanakh is not a frivolous word or not important. Every word that we have here is very important. And the reason that we learn this is that we know that David has gone home to Hebron, and here he is, don't forget, he is going to be crowned and anointed the king eventually in Yehuda, and he's going to have a Davidic line already established because he's married to several women already. And these are the women who give him children, and we will see who comes first, and it will be very important to us later when David's kingship is established throughout Israel. So here the pause in the history gives us a inheritance line of the Davidic line. Okay, so go ahead. If you have trouble, I'll help you. This is Amnon of Achinoam. Go ahead.
And his second, Chileabab of Abigail, the wife of Nabal, the Carmelite,
Right.
and the third, Absalom, the son of Masakah, the daughter of Talmai, the king of Geshur.
Okay, so this is Chiliav of Avigail. And Avigail we learned about in several chapters prior, and she was brilliant. She was a prophetess, and she gives him a child called Chiliav, and his name is also referred to as Daniel. We'll learn about that later as we continue with this the chapters, but and then Avshalom. Avshalom is from Macha, his wife that we haven't learned that he marries, but clearly he took another wife since he came to Hebron. Okay. Now the fourth son, and I'll read this for you. Adoniyahu is from his wife Hagit, and the fifth child, Shephata, is from no, his wife, the fifth is Shephata, and the son of
Avital.
Avital. Okay. Okay, then he has a sixth child with Eglah, and then he has other children by unknown women. And I'm going to just quickly go to here. Can you see this? The wives and the children. So we know that Michal was David's first wife. She was the daughter of who?
Saul.
Saul, that's right. They had no children together because he had to, as you know, start running away from Shaul, and Michal was taken away from him and given to another man, Paltiel.
Rhonda, were all these women Jewish?
No.
Well, um, the Chazal always tells us that the wives converted. And or some like Batsheva, we know was Jewish. So a lot of them we're not really sure, but they do grow up in a Jewish environment, and they are taught Torah by various scholars, and we're going to learn who they are in many of the chapters that follow. So, okay, how much they convert, I'm sure conversion is very different today than it was back then. Some of the, and we go down here, and these are children, 9 children of unknown mothers. So we don't even know who the mothers are. And these are the names of the children. Now here is Shlomo with the wife of Bathsheba, and these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are already mentioned here in this chapter. So David has a total of 8 wives. This is possible that these are from concubines, but we don't know. Okay, so these are the children of David. Okay, so let's go back to the text. All right, so now we've established who the Davidic line is, and now we're going to go back to the story. Now, watch the storyline very carefully. All right, go ahead, Lori.
Which one you want me to do, 7 or
Mhm.
6? Okay, 7. Now Saul
We lost you, Lori.
had a concubine whose name was Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, and he said to Abner, "Why did you go into my father's concubine?" And Abner became very angry at the words of Ishbosheth. And he said, "Am I the head of the dogs which belong to Judah? Shall I do kindness today with the house of Saul your father, to his brothers and to his friends, as have done until now? And I have not delivered you unto David's hand. And you charge me today with the guilt concerning the woman?" God do so to Abner, and so may he continue to him. For as the Lord has sworn to David, for so shall I do to him.
Okay. This is like I said, this chapter has good, bad, and ugly. The good was that all we learned about all the sons of David. The good was that the house of David is rising, and now comes the bad, the well, it's sort of the ugly actually, because Ishbosheth, who's the reigning king from the house of Saul, the not too clever guy, now is accusing Avner, the general, Saul's general, of consorting with one of Shaul's concubines. Now, according to the law, it was illegal to go and take one of the king's concubines. They were off limits to everybody except the king. Now, Ishbosheth is accusing Avner of this crime, and Avner then says to him, "What are you crazy? Why are you accusing me this? You think I'm a low-life dog? You think I'm no good? Why are you accusing me of of this crime?" And so we see that there's going to be a problem in the house of Shaul, that Avner and Ishbosheth are coming to loggerheads, and we're going to see what's going to happen. So go ahead.
Okay. You want me to start with 9,
No,
right?
right here.
Oh, okay, 10. From the house of Saul, and to set up the throne of David over Israel and over Judah, from Dan to Beersheba. And he could not answer Abner another word because of his fear of him. And Abner sent messages to David from his place, saying, "To whom the land belongs, saying, Make your covenant with me, and behold, my hand is with you to bring around all Israel to you."
Okay. So Avner's not too happy that he's being accused of this crime. And he has decided to jump ship and go over to David's side. You see what he says?
Yes.
He sends him a message and he says, "I'm read this again. Make your
With me, and behold, my hand is with you to bring around all Israel to you.
Okay. So, to you and all of Israel, I'm going to bring to you, which mean all of Israel means all the 11 tribes that were aligned with Shaul under Ishbosheth. So Avner is willing to bring these tribes, uh, we hope in peace, to David, because now he's really angry at Ishbosheth. And I think he's washing his hands of Ishbosheth. He feels that he's being betrayed by him, and he is not getting the support that he thought he would from this puppet king. So you understand now that Avner, former general of Shaul, is now bringing all of Israel to David. Okay? Now let's see what happens. Go ahead.
And he said, Good, I shall make a covenant with you, namely that you shall not see my face until you first bring Michal, when you come to see my face. And David sent messages to
Okay,
Ishbosheth.
wait, Lori, there must be something wrong with your microphone. A lot of the words are dropping out.
Oh,
We're not hearing a lot of the text. So I'm gonna ask
okay.
Faye, can you read for us? I'm sorry, Lori. I just
That's okay. Not a
okay.
Yeah,
problem.
that's fine.
Okay,
You
so
want 13 or you
yeah,
want 14? 13.
13.
And he said, Good, I shall make a covenant with you. But one thing I ask of you, namely that you shall not see my face unless you first bring Michal, Saul's daughter, when you come to see my face.
Okay. So, David's response to Avner's letter is that, okay, that's fine, good. I'm glad you're going to make a covenant with me, and I'm happy to do so with you. And certainly that plays into David's plan of uniting all of Bnei Yisrael together. And now, not only is David feel like he's got the upper hand with Avner, because Avner would not be coming to David unless there were issues with Ishbosheth. Because don't forget, Ishbosheth was put on the throne by Avner. So now Avner is turning his back on him. So David goes, aha, I have the upper hand in this, and now we're going to do it my way, peacefully, and we're going to get back on track to unite all of Bnei Israel. And David has a stipulation before he seeks David's face, before he comes and meets with him to make this covenant. What does David say? I want my wife back. Now, it's been a long time since David has seen Michal. Um, what do you think he has in mind here by
Well,
asking?
okay. Well, I think because she's the daughter of Shaul, having
Perfect,
her as a wife is like an endorsement of his kingship.
perfect, exactly. That's exactly right. Shaul gave to David Michal because of what? Do you remember?
Because he beat Goliath.
That's right. He won the war for Shaul, and he was given Michal as the reward to David for killing Goliath and winning the war with the Philistines. So David wants her back, not and notice that he says, not because I love her, but because he feels that because he got her from Shaul and she was Shaul's daughter, that by her return to him cements the deal that the house of Shaul comes to the house of Yehuda, the Davidic line, and the union of all the tribes will take place. So that's the first thing that David wants is Michal back because she is Shaul's daughter. The second thing is because Shaul gave her to David only after he did what? Do you remember the price that he had to pay for her?
No.
It was a good one. It was
Uh,
it was 200 foreskins of the Philistines that he had to give to Shaul to pay for the honor of marrying Michal. So not only did he get Michal as a gift from Shaul, he also had to pay for her with a dowry of Philistine foreskins. Lovely. And he feels that he has the right to ask for justice from Avner, and we'll see who else he asked for justice for. Continue.
and David sent messages to Ishbosheth, Sheth, the son of Saul, saying, give my wife Michal, whom I espoused to myself, with 100 foreskins of Philistines. And
Mhm.
her husband, and her husband and her husband went with her, walking and weeping after her up to Ha Huim. And Avner said to him, "Go return," and he returned. And the word of Avner had been with the elders of Israel, saying, "In times past you were seeking David as king over you, and now do it." For God said about David, saying, "By the hand of my bondsman David shall I deliver my people Israel from the hand of the Philistines and from the hand of their enemies." And Avner spoke also in the ears of Benjamin, and Avner also went to speak to David into David's ears in Hebron, all that pleased Israel and the entire house of Benjamin. And
Okay.
after, sorry,
Okay. So the request has gone out to both Ishbosheth and to Avner. So between the two of them, one is for Avner to return his wife because to cement the union of Bnei Yisrael, and because Ishbosheth is Michal's brother, it was a move on David's part to ask for justice, and he returns him from her husband Paltiel, who some say he was a very old man and that he was just given to him as a caretaker. Michal was given to him as a caretaker. But in any event, David has a stipulation and he wants Michal back. All right. So we know, and the interesting thing is, I don't know if you remember, but we talked about Michal loved David. She loved him very, very much. And that's why she was willing to save David's life when Shaul sent people, his army to her house. Remember, she pretended he was sick in bed and he climbed out the window and ran away from the soldiers. So she really loved him, and so so this is on her part. Perhaps I don't know what feelings she has after all this strange time, but perhaps she's happy to come back to David. Uh, uh, we don't really know. Okay, continue.
And Avner said to David, "I shall get up and go and gather all Israel to my lord the king, and they will make a covenant with you, and you will reign over all of your all over that your soul desires." And David sent Avner off and went in peace. And
Okay,
behold, David,
so
sorry,
so Avner has said okay to the condition that he will provide Michal back to David, and it says that he said to David that he's going to go and rally the troops and bring them home to David, and we're all going to be united. And Avner will come out as the good guy, and he will as the one bringing all of Israel to David, and David will then unite the country and Shalom al Yisrael, right? No, no, we're dealing with Jews here. They're not going to happen so easily. It is not going to happen so smoothly. So we're going to find out what is going on here. Okay, go ahead.
and behold, David's servants and Joab came from pursuing a troop, and they brought much plunder with them. Now Avner was not with David, and he had sent him off and had gone in peace.
Okay, so here we go. Here's the fork in the road, the twist in the story. Now, it says that once Avner, he's leaving, he's going to go get everybody to make shalom. And then we hear that Yoav, David's general, has been out fighting wars, and he brings home the plunder from the spoils of the wars, and he was not in the room, as they say, when Avner and David made the agreement that Avner would go and bring everybody to the table. So Yoav is really in the dark about Avner, does not know that Avner and David have discussed Michal. He does not know that Avner and David have discussed peace. And he comes back really to be blindsided with the situation. Go ahead.
Um, 23, yeah. And Joab and all the army which were with him came, and they told Joab, saying, Avner the son of Ner came to the king, and he sent him off, and he went in peace. And
Right.
Joab,
So
sorry,
the troops, the way Yoav learns that Avner was there was not from David. It was from his troops. And they said he came and he left in peace. Okay. This does not set well with Yoav. Do you know why? Do you remember why we
yeah,
learned?
Avner killed his brother.
That's no, Yoav killed Avner's. Is that what you meant? Yoav killed Avner's brother. No,
Sorry,
sorry, I'm sorry. Avner killed Yoav's brother,
yeah,
Asal.
yeah.
Okay, so Yoav still has a bone to pick with Avner.
Um, it's 24, is it, or 25? Where am I? 24. And Joab came to the king and said, What have you done? Behold, Avner came to you. Why have you sent him off so that he has gone? But you know, Yavna, the son of Ner, that he came to entice you and to know you're going out and you're coming in and know all that you are doing.
So what he says, Yoav does not have any warm, fuzzy feelings for Avner. And Yoav says to David, why has Avner come to meet with you? Why has he gone? Why have you let him go? You should have held him as a prisoner. You should not have let him go in peace. What went on? Now you would think that David would say, Yoav, while you were out at war, I came to an agreement with Avner because Avner said he would deliver the 11 tribes to me in peace. And we made an agreement. I will get Michal back. And then once we cement that relationship, we will have a united Israel. And so that would have been the smart thing to do. But men are only given a few words for each day of their lives. And David did not choose to use his words. And he didn't say anything to Yoav. And he didn't explain the situation. And Yoav then continues to tell David, no, David, you don't understand. Avner didn't come here to do whatever you met with him about, because he still doesn't know. He says, Yoav says he came to watch your activity, to see whether to spy on you so that he can take control of you. And so David dismisses that, and Avner and Yoav's accusation that Avner is a spy is dismissed. So now we're going to see what happens. Go ahead.
And Joab departed from David, and he sent messages after Avner And they brought him back from the wall to the thorns, and David did not know. And Abner returned to Hebron, and Joab caused him to turn aside unwittingly in the midst of the gate to speak with him, and he struck him there under the fifth rib, and he died for the blood of Ashahel's his brother. And
So
David,
that
sorry,
Yoav has taken it upon himself to contact Avner in Hebron, and he meets him at the gate, and he kills him. And he kills him because he has Avner killed Yoav's brother. This is a terrible tragedy again. This is senseless murder. What happens in war remains in war, because in war, ugly things happen. And if somebody is killed, they are killed because the two sides are at war with each other, not because it's a casual meeting and a crime is committed. The king of the Philistines understood that. The king knew that, and that's why he allowed David to come and live in Philistia, because even though the brothers of Goliath said, "Why are you allowing David, who killed our brother Goliath, to come into the country?" And the king says, "Because that was war and now it's peace. And David is accepted in our kingdom. He's coming to us, and I will allow him to live here in peace." So the brothers of Goliath were very upset because their brother was killed, and the king of the Philistines was not going to throw David out. He looked at him as an asset. Now, David is actually doing the exact same thing. Avner might have killed Joab's brother, but the war is over, and now David is allowing Avner to make amends. He's coming to him in peace, just like I just told the story of the Philistines, and David is accepting Avner on terms, peaceful terms. So you see that history repeats itself in so many different ways. The characters sometimes change, but the situations remain the same. So now we have Avner dead unnecessarily. And what would you think? Avner had just left David. Yoav, the general of David, runs out without speaking to David and finding out the whole story, runs off hot-headed and kills Avner in Hebron. What does that look like for David?
it looks like David backstabbed him. It looks
That's
like,
it. Right.
he sort of had this illusion that everything was okay, and then afterwards he called him back for someone to kill him. So not the nicest,
It's
not the nicest thing.
exactly what it looks like. It looks as if David makes peace, gets what he wants. He gets Michal, he gets the tribes, and then he sends his general out to kill him. So, what do you think would be the consequence of all the tribes when they hear that Avner's been killed by David's general?
They don't believe him. He's a liar. He's a backstabbing person. So they don't believe what David Amelech says.
Okay, so it it looks as if David has by using Yoav committed a terrible, terrible crime. All right, let's see what happens here. Go ahead.
And David heard afterwards, and he said, I and my kingdom are innocent before the Lord forever of the blood of Avner and his son, the son of Ner. May it rest upon the head of Joab and upon all his father's house, and may there not fail from the house of Joab one who has an issue or one who is smitten with
Zara.
Zara,
Yeah.
or one that that leans on a staff, or who falls by the sword, or who lacks bread.
Okay. All right. So David is horrified. He is absolutely horrified to hear this news, and his first reaction is, the house of David and my kingdom is absolutely innocent of any wrongdoing. This was not under my auspices, and I do not accept the guilt or the any accusations of the death of Avner. It is all on the house of Yoav. He did it independently. And here in this pasuk 29, all of these things, if you'll take a look at, read it again, because this is very, very important. This particular pasuk that announces, it's like almost a bracha that David is sending out there to when he hears of Avner's death. He sends it upon Joab's house. Well, and upon his father's house. Now, how could he send it out to Joab when they're related? They're cousins. So what does this mean? This curse, this bracha or curse, is actually something that David says in horror of the killing of Avner. And in each case, we're going to see, go ahead, read this. I want you to read it very slowly. Go ahead, read it again. It's very important.
May it rest upon the head of Joab and upon all his father's house, and may there not fail from the house of Joab one who has who has an issue, or one who is smitten with Zaath, or
Sarah.
one or one who leans on a staff, or who falls by the sword, or who lacks bread.
Okay, all these conditions, the person who lacks bread, the person who has sarat, the person who falls by the sword, all these, I guess we could say they're curses, come back to haunt David. Because David did not stop Yoav, and because David did not give Yoav all the information that he needed to understand between Avner and David, these things become David's punishment, David's issues in chapters to come, because David didn't share this information. Now, why wouldn't David share this information with his general? Why wouldn't David say, we've made an agreement? Well, he knew how Yoav felt about Avner. He knew that Avner and Yoav had bad blood between them. And so what does David really need at this time of building his kingdom? He needs a strong general that he can trust. And he thought that Yoav would be that general that he could trust to build an army and when he unites the entire country. So because of his self-serving needs of having a strong army, David doesn't say anything to prevent Joab from being hot-headed and doing something rash. And the punishment is in this sentence. This is David's punishment.
It's interesting, Rhonda, that Avner seemed to have become more magnanimous. He tried to do the best for Klal Israel, whereas Yoav was very much against, well, not against, but very much for himself and the horror of having his brother killed. Much more personal.
Oh, I take all this.
Right. It was much more personal. It was not on a state level. It was not
Yeah.
as a governmental authority. It was a very personal thing. It was a family honor thing. So yeah, you're right. So let's find out now that Avner is dead and David is horrified and begs for basically forgiveness from the country. Let's see how David is going to handle this. Go ahead.
Now, Joab and Avishai, his brother, slew Avner because of because he put Ash oh God Ash
Asahel,
Asahel, their brother, to death in Gibeon in the battle. And David said to all the people who were with him, render your clothes and gird yourselves with sackcloth and wail before Avner. And King David went after the bear.
Okay, so David is so distraught that he says to all the people, tear your clothes and put on sackcloth, and we're going to walk behind the body of Avner, and he's going to really mourn Avner with such I can only say enthusiasm and such he is just in shock and he's very, very upset. So he is going to do everything possible to show the people that this was not his doing. So let's continue.
And they buried Avner in Hebron, and the king raised his voice and wept at Avner's grave, and all the people wept.
Okay. Now, it says that he wept at his grave. He didn't give a eulogy. He didn't talk like he did about Avner the way he did about Shaul and Yonatan, but he shows that he is extremely upset. And he's buried in Hebron. And go ahead.
And the king lamented Avner and said, should Avner die like a wicked man?
Go ahead.
Your hands were not bound, and your feet were not put into copper chains. As one who falls before wicked men, you have fallen. And all the people continued to weep over him. And all the people came to serve David bread while it was still daylight. But David swore, saying, God, do so to me, and so continue. If before sunset I take bread or anything.
All right, so David is going to, this is not someone that he needs to basically sit shiva for. He's not eating anything. They're serving him food, and he says, no, I'm not going to eat until after sunset. I'm not going to participate in any food. He is just taking this to an extreme so that the people understand that he's innocent. Go ahead.
And all the people recognized, and it was pleasing in their eyes. All which the king did was pleasing in the eyes of all the people. And all the people and all Israel went on that day, that it was not of the king who put to death Avner the son of Ner.
Okay, so here it's here the people see how David is acting and they realize that it was not his fault. Okay.
And the king said to his servants, do you not know that a prince and a great man has fallen this day in Israel? And today I will tender and just anoint, sorry, and today I am tender and just anointed king. And these men, the sons of Zuriah, are harder than me. May the Lord requite the evildoer according to his evil.
Okay, so this is the end of the chapter. David has issued, say that again, may the Lord requite.
Sorry. May the Lord requite the evildoer according to his evil.
Okay. David has issued forth several things. One is he tells the different circumstances that we learned in Pasuk 24, I believe. Where he says how they should fall. Right here in 29. This sentence will come back to haunt David. And then this sentence, this pasuk, may the Lord requite, may he get back at the evildoer according to his evil. So we don't know exactly what this means. If we've never read further than this, we don't really know what it means. However, I have read beyond this chapter. And I know that David is saying, I hope that Yoav gets his just reward because what he did was terrible and unnecessary. And in parentheses, probably David was saying, and it put my kingship in a terrible situation for quite a while. So we know that I know that Yoav remains the general of David's kingship, during David's kingship, and that Yoav outlives David. David is going to die. And who takes over after David? His son Shlomo. We know that on his deathbed, David says to Shlomo, there are a few loose ends that I want you to take care of before you really establish your kingship. One of those loose ends, he says to Shlomo, is that you should not allow Yoav to live. And I actually have the text that I want to read, because David says to Shlomo, do therefore according to your wisdom, and let not his hoary head go down to the grave in peace. So he's charging Shlomo with making sure that before Shlomo takes on the kingship, that he really that he kills Yoav, and that he should not die in peace, that he should be reminded of the terrible thing he did in his old age. So that's what happens toward the end of Sefer Shmuel. And whether it is justice, whether it is the just rewards, or I'm not really sure. I'm not a judge or Dayan, or I am certainly not sitting in judgment of who did what to whom. But our history is really loaded with acts that we in today's world probably think are pretty drastic. Do you think? What do you feel?
I just think it's a great example that very little human nature has changed. You know, the terrible, I don't know whether it's terrible, but the strong need to avenge you know, sort of a relative that was killed unnecessarily, the fact that someone tries to change and do the good thing and is doubted, you know, it's all these great men are all human and all with all their faults. And I think if we learn anything from it, then it's been of great value. But human beings are human beings, so yeah,
Nice.
that's what I see. I think,
Oh, you're absolutely right. You know, there's nothing new under the sun here.
yeah, yeah.
We continue in war, we continue in avenge, and there is nothing new. So yes, you're right. Oh, it's 12 o'clock. Okay, so we're going to stop recording.